Hi, I'm Mike Gafa. I am part of the Luminex group, and we are very close to the end of our 15-week series on hero leaders in the church. So one last time, at least for me, we're not talking about heroes that are, storming the castle and charging up the hill. We're not talking about that. We're talking about leaders who follow, and our followership, of course, is Christ. And so out of that followership, we are hopeful, empowered, resilient, and optimistic. That's the kind of hero leader that we're talking about. And so we're now on optimistic leaders. And last week, John Messer said this: optimism is not merely positive thinking. The basis for our optimism is God. And that's a statement I think as Christian followers and leaders we can get with, right? I mean, the basis of our optimism is God. And yet, if we're honest about it, in our churches, there's an ebb and flow to our optimism. And oftentimes, the ebb and flow involves things like what I have here. Attendance. How's our attendance? In person, online. Can we measure online attendance now? If so, what does that look like? What's it trending? I mean, that's important, but it's not ultimately important, and it shouldn't be the ultimate basis for our optimism. Membership, same thing. Are we gaining members, losing? What's going on there? Giving, certainly a big deal. We need financial provision in order to be the church, to do church. Programs and people, all that are important. All these things and more we could put here are quite important. They're all sort of provision though. And we get turned around when we put too much stock in any of these things, and when there starts to be, or when we hit periods of decline, or when things aren't going in the way they go, or we want them to go, I should say, and we can sort of become more pessimistic than optimistic. Our optimism must be from God, because God does not ebb and flow. There's no variance. God is God, and His promises are bedrock. He's building His church. Jesus is building His church. Now, my wife is an interior designer and home stager. And one of the things that she does as a home stager, if you're familiar with the term, home stagers help people who are getting ready to sell their homes to prepare their homes for sale so they can optimize, they can get the highest dollar amount for the sale of their home and sell it hopefully quicker. And so Pam always tells me, she's told me over the years, that the hardest thing for her clients to deal with is decluttering. It seems that people collect a lot of stuff, and they're reluctant to want to get rid of their stuff, or at least store their stuff so that you don't see stuff, you can see space. Because if you're a buyer looking at a home, or prospective buyer looking at a home, you want to see space, not someone else's stuff. And I say that because these kinds of things, attendance, membership, giving, programs, people, all important, but if we allow them to take prominence, they can actually get in the way of our ability to see Christ, to see God, to have optimism, not so much in how those things are going. They're all important, they're all indicators. They're not ultimately important though, because our source of optimism is not in those things. They can be clutter if we're not careful. Let's make our source of optimism Jesus Christ, who is the head of our church, who died for us, who saves us from our sin and grants us eternal life. Thanks for watching.